guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to another video. Today, well actually not just today, over the course of the next like several months, this is just really the intro that I want to film. I'm going to be trying to predict books that I will give 5 stars. I honestly just want to see how bad I am at this because I pretty much never predict my 5-star reads. So what I did is I came up with a list of books right now that I think will be 5 stars, and then like just as I pick up books, I'll just decide if I think it's going to be a 5-star, then I'll mention it to you. My plan is to maybe pick like 5 books for this video. We'll see how long that takes me to do. But over the course of the next few months, this could even take months to film, we'll see. I will pick a book if I think it's 5 stars, show it to you, and then tell you why I think it's going to be 5 stars. And then I'll update you maybe like 50 pages in, and then again maybe like 50% of the way through the book, and let you know, or maybe a third of the way through and 2/3 of the way through or something like that, let you know if it's on track to be 5 stars, if I was like totally wrong, and then at the end my final rating and see how far off I was. We'll see if I can predict a single 5-star. Honestly, doubt that I can pick a single one. But in case you're curious, I do have a brief list. I'm not going to flash all these up on the screen because editing me will be way too lazy to do that. But I don't even know if these are going to be in this video at all. Like this could be, none of these could be in the video. I don't know. But I'm going to predict. I realized I like weird books. Oh yeah, I've already got to mark one off the list. I put the Kaiju Preservation Society on there and I just finished it and it was 3 stars. So it's not off to a good start. But I'm going to predict that Our Wives Under the Sea, which sounds weird, I'm going to say that's going to be 5-star. Vita Nostra, I'm going to say that's 5 stars. Kafka on the Shore. Sounds real weird. It could be a DNF, but I'm going to say 5 stars. Silverborn, this is kind of cheating because it's in the Nevermore series, and all 3 of those books have been 5 stars for me, so I'm pretty sure book 4, Silverborn, will be 5 stars as well. The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones, I'm going to say would be 5 stars. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, I'm going to say would be 5 stars because I love Daughter of Smoke and Bone by her. I'm going to say Gardens of the Moon, the first of the Malazan series, I'm going to say will be 5 stars because it's like epic fantasy, like Game of Thrones level stuff. So we'll see. Deadly Education by Naomi Novik could be terrible, but I'm going to predict it'll be 5 stars because it's like Harry Potter, but deadlier. We'll see. The 100,000 Kingdoms, N.K. Jemisin, because I loved the first book of the Broken Earth trilogy, but I did not like the second 2. So I also DNF'd one of her other books too, so I don't know. She's very hit or miss for me, but I'm going to predict that this is going to be the one. The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, because I started it once before and I think it was probably going to be 5 stars. I don't know. I might be cheating by predicting that, but just the character of Glokta, I'm sure you guys all know. Anyway, sounds really fun and, you know, snarky and whatever. Ghost Written by David Mitchell, because I absolutely loved Slade House. It's one of my favorite books I read all year last year, and this is apparently very similar to that one. And then A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher that comes out at the end of this month. This is March, so I'm starting to film this. It comes out at the end of this month, and I've been enjoying T. Kingfisher lately. I've given 2 of her books 4 stars, and I just feel like this is going to be the one. Although I just saw Kayla from Books and Lala read it very recently, and she didn't like it that much. I think she gave it 3 stars. So those are some of the predictions, but the question is, will I get to any of those? I don't know. But if I do pick up a book I think I'll be 5 stars, I'll show you, I'll update you throughout, and then basically it's an experiment to see if I can pick my 5-star books, and then if there's any like common themes of my 5-star books, maybe this experiment in the end will help me to find more 5-star books. We'll find out. I'll see you here probably in a few weeks. Well guys, it's time for our first 5-star prediction. I predict that this book, which I've actually already started, spoiler alert, but I predict that I'm going to give 5 stars to Kafka on the Shore, there we go, by Haruki Murakami, I don't know, something like that. I feel like I've got it pretty close, because it's supposed to be weird. Honestly, going into this book, I knew nothing about it except that it was weird and that it was dual timeline and that somehow the 2 stories, one in the past and one in the present, eventually converge in a really unique way. And that's all I remembered. Now, I think there was more that I knew at the beginning when I first added it to my TBR, but honestly, I've forgotten. So I just want to go in blind because I loved The Library at Mount Char because I didn't know anything about it. And I don't know anything about this one either, except now I do because I've read like a third of it. Well, not a third. I think I'm like 22% in. So it's still going on my 5-star prediction list, even though I've already started it. Oh, my dog's trying to get out the door. Why does she always do this when, there we go. All right, well, she got out. I'm keeping it on the list, even though I've already started it. But I have to say that I don't know that it's going to be 5 stars now that I've started it. It is weird. I'll give it that for sure. I did not know that there was going to be like a person that could talk to a cat. I don't care about the modern day timeline. I love the mystery that's going on in the past though. So only will I give this 5 stars, I think, if somehow the 2 timelines come together in like some amazing, unique way. But the old timeline, I don't even want to tell you what it's about, but basically there's just a mystery that is so cool. I don't know if it's going to involve aliens or like it's definitely got to be something fantastical. I think I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about this book. It is so weird. It's also really long. I think it's like almost 500 pages or right at it. It's a really long audiobook. It's like 19 hours, but I'm speeding it up. So hopefully I can do it in like, I don't know, 11 or 12 hours, something like that. I am still going to put it on the 5-star predictions, although just from the chapters that are told in present day where I'm not caring as much about the main character, like nothing really exciting is happening. It's like, oh, this kid is running away from home. And it's just kind of, but it is cool that it's set in Japan. Right now, I'd probably give it 4 stars, but let's see how it goes. And we'll see if there's any chance later. I'll update you when I get maybe 66%. We can maybe do 2/3 of the way and see if we think it's on track at all to be a 5-star. Okay, this book, I can't even explain to you. If I told you what was happening in this book at this point, you would not believe me. Like, you would not believe it. If I told you, I don't even want to spoil by telling you some of the things going on, but let's just say if I mentioned that there's a character who thinks he's Colonel Sanders, there's a stone that allows people to travel to different places and people in different time periods. There's a dude who kills cats and takes their souls and puts them in a flute. I mean, that's just the beginning. That is just, well, not the beginning. That's actually just the part I've read recently. That's not even the stuff at the beginning about somebody that like passed out in the woods as a child and woke up like 2 weeks later and they couldn't read anymore or do anything like that they used to do, and they're like not the same person anymore, or like their part of their soul is like missing. There's also teenagers that ran away and may be in love with both his mother and his sister and has like an Oedipus complex. It's real weird. It's getting real weird. It's not a 5-star. No. I thought weirdness would make it a 5-star, but I was wrong. It would be more like a 3-star right now, and I'm really sad because I felt like it almost has the same vibes of The Alchemist. Did I mention this before? I can't remember, but it does, and I love The Alchemist so much. One of my favorite books of all time ever. I used to teach it when I was a teacher. But this is not that. Like, it's, I don't even know. Like, I thought it was all going to come together. Like, I'm almost finished. I'm not quite done. But I'm like over 75%. And if it doesn't all come together in a satisfying way, then it's definitely 3 stars. If it all comes together in a super satisfying way that somehow makes the entire thing make sense, which I just don't think is going to happen, then maybe it could be 3.5. I don't think it's going to be a 4-star. 4-star means I have to like actively enjoy it. But at this point, I'm just trying to get through it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, let it be over. It's so long. The audiobook's like 19 hours and I'm like, just let it. It's like 500 pages and I'm like, just let it be done. It's way too long. This book is unnecessarily long. But I'm going to go try to finish it, although I'm like kind of bored, but I'm so close to being done that I just want it to be over so I can move on to something else. I feel like I've spent the entire month of March reading this book off and on. It didn't help probably that I don't know if it helped or hurt that I took a break. I read 50% of this book. I totally took a break for like a week. I read another book entirely for a different video, and it was like a lighthearted fun read. It was Beach Read by Emily Henry, and then now I've come back to this, and like I didn't even want to come back to it. So I guess that says something. Like I could have just stopped reading it at 50% and just been like, I'd be fine. Like I might read a plot summary. So why I've continued this long, I don't know. Probably because I have put so much time into it that I feel like I have to continue reading it. So let me go finish it here probably today. Honestly, I'm just gonna power through while I'm working, and I've got to go do like a 4-mile run. So while I'm running, I guess I'll just try to finish it, even though it's so boring. Oh my gosh, I finished it. It's over. It was so bad. I mean, like, I still gave it 3 stars because I was at least interested enough to keep going, but like, oh my gosh, this is not the type of writing for me. It like leaves everything very open-ended. It's supposed to be a puzzle. You're supposed to piece everything together yourself. I apparently need it spelled out for me, and the ending did not spell it out for me. And instead I've been watching, literally for the past like 30 minutes, I've just been watching YouTube videos explaining the ending. And I'm like, am I just too stupid or what? No, this is not the type of writing for me. I don't like it when it's not, everything doesn't come together at the end. It's just left open and you're like, what did I just read? Like, what happened? This is one of the weirdest books I've ever read in my entire life. I don't think this author's writing style is going to be for me, but maybe, I don't know. I still think I like magical realism. It still reminds me of The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, however you say his name, but like a much weirder specific version of it. It's like he took that story and then ran with it. So I definitely would recommend reading The Alchemist and not this book. But apparently some people swear by this book and it's like their favorite book and they think it's like a genius. We're gonna take a break from weird magical realism for a little while. So my 5-star prediction was wrong. Just because it was weird did not mean I liked it. So I guess I've learned now that weird books doesn't always mean that they're going to be my thing. Yeah, I think if I knew more going into it or had read more reviews, I would have maybe predicted it wouldn't have been 5 stars. But just because I was like, oh, it's weird, it'll be 5 stars. Yeah, no, that didn't work. So on to the next book. I will let you know when I pick out another book I think will be 5 stars. Well, it has been a very long time since I updated you, and it's bedtime, but I had to update you very quickly, which is that I have found another book that I truly think will be 5 stars. This video has been so long in the making because I keep thinking a book's going to be 5 stars and then realizing at the last minute it's probably not going to be. So anyway, it is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enrique, which is translated from, I'm not sure what language. I'm going to assume it's Spanish. She's from Latin America. It says it's blurbed by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, which I read Mexican Gothic and decently enjoyed it. Gave it like 3.5 stars. I'm going to try this book. Although the audiobook is 27 hours long. It is like epically long. It'll be one of the longest books that I'll probably read all year. I don't think I read a book that long last year, honestly. Here's the plot synopsis and why I think I'm going to give it 5 stars. So on Goodreads, I will tell you, it says, a woman's mysterious death puts her husband and son on a collision course with her demonic family. And I think they're like, the dad has powers too. Like I listened to 1% of the book already and it seems like the dad's gonna have powers. A young father and son set out on a road trip, devastated by the death of the wife and mother they both loved. United in grief, the pair travel to her ancestral home where they must confront the terrifying legacy she has bequeathed, a family called the Order that commits unspeakable acts in search of immortality, which I don't know, for some reason it reminds me of the movie The Ninth Gate, and I'm so in the mood to watch that movie, and for some reason this reminds me of that. For Gaspar, the son, this maniacal cult is his destiny. As the Order tries to pull him into their evil, he and his father take flight, attempting to outrun a powerful clan that will do anything to ensure its own survival. But how far will Gaspar's father go to protect his child, and can anyone escape their fate? Moving back and forth in time, which I love dual timelines, so fingers crossed, from London in the swinging 1960s to which I don't know why London, but that'll be intriguing, to the brutal years of Argentina's military dictatorship, which I don't know anything about, and its turbulent aftermath. Our Share of Night is a novel like no other, which I love that. A family story, a ghost story, a story of the occult and the supernatural, a book about the complexities of love and longing with queer subplots and themes. This is the masterwork of one of Latin America's most original novelists, a mesmerizing writer, says Dave Eggers, who demands to be read. I love all those things. I love family stories, I guess, maybe. Ghost stories for sure. Stories of the occult and supernatural. Complexities of love. So, I don't know. I'm so intrigued. It sounds like there's a lot going on in this book. Kayla from Books and Lala gave it 5 stars. And said, well, she didn't really say much about it. It was recommended to her by like a video that she did. Somebody else I know rated it on Goodreads, and here's what they said. They gave it 2 stars. This was one of my friends, and she says, I honestly do not understand the hype this book has received. The gruesome parts are not made up for by the plot. The most intriguing part is the setting, and that can only take the book so far. So I had heard originally that this was a horror novel because it was in Kayla's book. What's her name? Kayla from Books and Lala. I was in her like horror reading vlog. And then she even said though in it, I listened to it last night and I didn't want to listen to too much, but I just watched very little of it. And she said that it's not necessarily horror. I think it is more like fantasy maybe, which I am all for. And I don't mind like a little bit of horror. Apparently I did enjoy a horror book last year, God in the Shed. So maybe, some other people I know rated it 5 stars. I think it's the only people I know that have read it. Several people have marked it as want to read. Like 6 of people I know on Goodreads have marked it as want to read, or like people I follow. So it's very long. It just came out in 2023 in February. I think, according to this, it's going to be a standalone, which I'm very excited about. And it has 4.31 stars on Goodreads, 4.31 star rating on Goodreads out of 29,000 ratings. So, I mean, we're going to see. It could go terribly. I think that this, of course, I thought that the last book I read, Kafka on the Shore, was going to be 5 stars because it was weird, but it was too weird. This sounds like just the right amount of weird and like my kind of weird. So I really do truly believe that this could be a 5-star book. It sounds like it's giving me vibes of like Library at Mount Char and like all the books I loved last year. Maybe even like God in the Shed, the dual timeline, kind of like Dead 11 or which I think, yeah, was that dual timeline? I think it was Home Before Dark. Like all those were my favorite books. And this has that occult aspect of it. It kind of, like I said, is giving me vibes of even Ninth Gate, which I absolutely love that movie and I need to go rewatch. So wish me luck. I'm 1% in. It's going to take me a while. Okay, we have Our Share of Night. I was going to say our book, but it's our share of night. We have our coffee, which is not great. I do love this cup that I got for Christmas. It's very pretty, except it's hand wash only. We got our cold brew. We've got our book. I can't seem to get super into this right now, but I think it's just because I'm not reading consistently. So I'm gonna sit down for about 25 minutes right now. I know it's not long, but that's all I have because of the baby's nap, and then just see how far we get. I absolutely cannot believe this, but I am DNFing our share of night. I feel like we just got into this video. Like I just started talking about our share of night. I made it 11%, which was actually 3 hours of the audiobook, but there was like another 25 hours to go because this audiobook is so long. And I'm bored out of my mind. Nothing has happened. Nothing for 11%. Everything that's happened has been already summarized in the synopsis. So I knew everything that was going to happen. It is so boring. I'm like, I'm bored out of my ever-loving mind. And I've read some reviews, and apparently the whole thing is very bloated. I mean, some people gave it 5 stars, and then a lot of people gave it 2 stars. It's really all over the place. I get that it's probably going to get better, but it just does not sound like the book for me. Like here I was, I thought, oh, this sounds like the perfect book for me. And it does not. It's not. Oh my gosh. It's like, I get that it's going to all come together and it's going to be amazing. But the different timelines apparently doesn't really help matters. Like, it's not going to make it super exciting. And it's a lot about Argentina and all this stuff that went on in Argentina in history. And like, I don't know anything about that. So I think not having the context, it doesn't like, it's not meaningful to me at all. And it's just not what I'm looking for. I guess the whole thing's kind of a metaphor or something. And that's not what I want. So instead, I'm going to go watch the Ninth Gate movie at some point. I watched the movie A Haunting in Venice the other night, the newest of the like Hercule Poirot movies. And I loved it. And it's kind of the vibes I wanted from this book for some reason and didn't get it. So I'm now going to watch The Ninth Gate and just get my fix there. And then we're going to move on and we're going to try to find another 5-star. And the first one, of course, was kind of weird and didn't go super well. Now this one is like DNF. I can't believe it. I was pretty confident. Like I say, it's been forever filming this video because I really wanted to truly find a 5-star and not just claim that it's going to be a 5-star for this video. And I was sadly very wrong. So I hopefully will see you again soon. Okay, I'm still in the very empty back storage room, but before I go, I wanted to tell you guys about the new book I'm starting. It's the last book for this vlog, and it's a 5-star prediction. So we've not been very successful, right? We've had a 3-star, which was like the weirdest book I've ever read. I still don't even know how to rate it. We had a DNF, and now today we have a nonfiction that we're gonna try because I just finished reading Elon Musk's biography and I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. Too bad I didn't predict that one as being 5 stars, but I thought we'd try another nonfiction and see if it could potentially be just as good. So the book I'm gonna try was recommended to me by our gifted and talented coordinator at our school, and that book is The Tyranny of Metrics by Jerry Z. Mueller. And she said that it is fascinating. And I looked it up on Goodreads. It has 3.7. I feel like that's really bad. Out of only 1,500 ratings and 225 reviews. So I'm a little hesitant. I'll go into it with a grain of salt, kind of like knowing maybe not everything's accurate or maybe it doesn't present the whole picture. I'm not sure, but I'm really into nonfiction right now, which is very rare for me. I've only ever read a few nonfiction books like ever, I feel like. I loved Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And so I want to see if this one could be a 5-star like the Elon Musk biography. So here's what it's about. See if this doesn't sound fascinating. It says, how the obsession with quantifying human performance threaten our schools, medical care, businesses, and government. I think that's the subtitle. Today, organizations of all kinds are ruled by the belief that the path to success is quantifying human performance, publicizing the results, and dividing up the rewards based on the numbers. But in our zeal to instill the evaluation process with scientific rigor, we've gone from measuring performance to fixating on measuring itself. Like the measuring is the end goal. The result is a tyranny of metrics that threatens the quality of our lives and most important institutions. In this powerful and timely book, Jerry Mueller uncovers the damage our obsession with metrics is causing and shows us how we can begin to fix the problem. Filled with examples from education, which is what I'm interested in, medicine, business and finance, government, the police and military, and philanthropy and foreign aid, this brief, because it's only like 5 hours for the audiobook, brief and accessible book explains why the seemingly irresistible pressure to quantify performance distorts and distracts, whether by encouraging gaming the stats or teaching to the test. That's because what can and does get measured is not always worth measuring, may not be what we really want to know, and may draw effort away from the things we care about. Along the way, we learn why paying for measured performance doesn't work, why surgical school cards may increase deaths, and much more. Wow. But metrics can be good when used as a complement to, rather than a replacement for, judgment based on personal experience. And Mueller also gives examples of when metrics have been beneficial. Complete with a checklist of when and how to use metrics, The Tyranny of Metrics is an essential corrective to a rarely questioned trend that increasingly affects us all. Sounds amazing. I'm fascinated by it. Let's try it. Oh, and let's also predict that it's going to be 5 stars, because I think it sounds fascinating. And since the Elon Musk biography was 5 stars, I don't know why, I'm just assuming this one's going to be too. I'm bored with this book. Like 26% of the way through. I just started it last night, but it's super short and I'm so bored. Like, I could stop now and it would be fine. I'm going to keep going to see if it gets better. Like, I just don't really care. And I think if I just read this as like a paragraph or like an essay, this could just be an essay or something instead of a whole book. It's like, yes, okay, metrics are bad in a lot of cases. Now, not in all cases. He's going to tell some cases that they're good. But he's like, it could even cause deaths because surgeons don't want to take patients that they don't think are, going to be successful surgeries, because then it looks bad on their like ratio basically of good to bad surgeries, right? Like, they won't be as successful if they don't, if they take the harder surgery, so they take the easier surgeries. Or the emergency rooms want to say how long their wait time is and like how many people they're taking like per hour or whatever it is, and it looks good on them, of course, to have a shorter wait time at the ER. So instead of having people wait in the waiting room for the ER, they will just keep them in the ambulance so that they have to wait even longer. Like, they might have to wait even longer, but like, you wouldn't know it because part of that time's in the ambulance, and that doesn't count as actually waiting in the ER. So it could be detrimental to like people's health, people's education. I haven't got to the part about education yet, so I'm hoping it kind of makes me more interested then, since I'm obviously an educator. Sorry, my car keeps beeping at me. So I think, yeah, it just could have been a short essay or something, but I'm gonna keep going because it is at least interesting. It's just, do I need to know about this for this long? So we're getting ready to go to daycare. Of course, watching our little bit of Bounce Patrol before we go. And I've decided to DNF the book. Where's what? Your numbers. Oh, I was talking about his puzzle. It's over there. We'll get it when you get home from daycare. So I'm DNFing the book. When I get to school, I'm going to start looking up some reviews on Goodreads. I'll read them to you, and we'll see if I'm justified in DNFing it. Because, yeah, the reviews were pretty low, as we saw, like 3.7. Let's see if I was justified in DNFing it. I'm bored out of my mind. I tried. I listened to like 20 more minutes of it this morning, and I just can't do it. Well, it's time to read the reviews of The Tyranny of Metrics to see if I was justified in DNFing it. Not that I have to be sorry, Ella's over here rolling on the floor. Not that I have to be justified in DNFing it. I don't even know why I care, but it's like, I just want to see, I guess, if other people have the same thoughts as me. So we're going to go to Goodreads because we know it only has a 3.71 reviews here, or stars, which is pretty bad for a nonfiction book, especially one that was highly recommended. So let's see. The very first review is a 1 star. Let's see what this person says. They said, oh, it's really long. I don't want to read this whole thing. At the beginning, though, it's called Ayn Rand Lives, which I've never read anything by Ayn Rand except for Anthem, which I used to teach when I taught 10th grade English. And so I could kind of see where maybe they're going with it, but let's see. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Okay, well, this one's way too long. We're not going to read that one. Okay, here's a 2-star review. I failed to love this book for several reasons. The language is very dry, feels like some Weasel Consulting presentation. Once the author started, well, and I do agree with that. It was very, very dry. It was just so plain. Once the author, maybe that's why I felt like an essay too, because it was just like something somebody in a professional field that was studying this would just read like for work or something. It sounds like something you read for work, not for fun. Once the author started he couldn't stop. Literally about 20% of the book is its intro. Did I make it 20%? See, I already forgot where I DNF'd it. I think I did. I made it past the intro. Yeah, I did. I made it past the intro. The content is very repetitive. Yes. Yes, there are a few interesting examples, primarily in the education area, but fewer than one could expect. And I did not get into the education area, and if I had, maybe I would have liked it better because it would have related more to me. The stuff I was reading about just didn't relate to me. I probably should have skipped to that chapter, honestly. I hoped for some more structured approach to metrics. And then, is there anything I liked about the book? Well, the chapter about transparency was quite interesting. If you're looking for a good book about metrics and how not to use them, you should probably look somewhere else. Here's another one. It says the topic of what Mueller calls metrics fixation is a super timely and important subject. So I applaud the idea of diving into it. Me too. Yet the execution, so to say, is disappointing at the very least. I guess that's what it was for me too. The book is very dry and repetitive. It also seems like a rushed effort to say something smart about a topic you don't know a lot about. So you start to read hastily as much as you can. But then, not having enough time to synthesize all of the info consumed, you pour over your readers this half-baked overview of your sources with a few thoughts of your own. I bet if this book wasn't written by a tenured professor professor, it wouldn't be published. And for those who really look into learning, want to look into learning something about the social processes behind the construction of numbers, I cannot recommend enough the work of Sally Ingle Mary. So there's another option, I guess, for a person that we could look into if we really wanted to read that. Okay, I feel really justified in DNFing it. Now, of course, I didn't read you all the positive reviews. There are a lot of 4 stars, 3 stars. I've seen a couple 5-star reviews. So, I mean, obviously some people really liked it. Like I said, I liked the premise as well, but I guess it was just more the execution that I couldn't get behind. Well, that is the end of this video. What have we learned? That I cannot predict my 5-star reads. I might as well just give up now, because during this vlog, I read 3 books. I said at the beginning I might read 5, and I just thought that it was going to be too long if I did. So maybe again, I'll try 3 books again in the future. I'll give it a little break. I'll just wait till I actually come to a book I truly think will be 5 stars, and I'll pick up the camera again and we'll do this all again. So we tried what? The Haruki Murakami, I don't even know how you say his name, something like that, Kafka on the Shore, and we gave it a 3 star. It was one of the weirdest books I've ever read. Just because it's weird does not mean it's gonna be good. That's what I learned. And then the second book we DNF'd, and then the third book that we DNF'd. Yeah, it didn't go so well. So the second book I thought would be good, Our Share of Night, just because it was also weird, but it really sounded up my alley, like down, up my street, up my alley, down my alley, down my street. That none of these make any sense right now. It's really late at night. It sounded up my alley. It was not. It was not. It was. It just was so boring and slow, and I didn't even get some of the context of what was going on. So I don't think I got to the interesting part. And then the third book was recommended to me, The Tyranny of Metrics, and it was just not what I was looking for. I was hoping it would be way more interesting than it was, and maybe I should have just skipped the chapter on education. Ironically enough, I found 2 really great books while doing this video though. Like, I really liked The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes and gave it 4.5 stars. Never would have predicted that it would be 5 stars. And then I actually really liked the Elon Musk biography. I loved it, actually. I gave it 5 stars. It's gonna be one of my favorite books of the year. And I would never have predicted that that book would be 5 stars. So clearly I cannot predict it. That's what we've learned. And it's kind of fun to try, and that's about it. So anyway, let me know down below if you've read any of these books, if you think there are any books that you would recommend to me that you think I'll give 5 stars if you watched my videos and you know my reading taste. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. This video has been like a year in the making because I literally can't ever decide if a book's gonna be 5 stars. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.